All right, back into it now as we continue on a big Thursday here from the nation's capital. Glad to be here back among the living after what happened to start the week. Good Lord. My next guest, Nick Hopwood, says, well, what happened? Well, as I was said, I got some bad clams. Nick Hopwood here, financial planning. It's my guy that I go to, Peak Wealth Management. Nick, good to see you. I see that you got some predictions for me today, including college football. So you've got trends in college football already. The season hasn't even started, Nick.
Well, Steve, I do have some trends, but I have to say, as a Catholic with two kids in Catholic school, I got my father, Gabriel
Yeah.
Richard, shirt on today. I want to say that I stand in solidarity with all my Catholic brothers and sisters in condemning this terrible hate crime. But when it
I have
comes
to agree
to,
with you. Hold on. I have two
yes,
children in Catholic school as well. One that just same thing, a K through 8 Catholic school. My kids,
yeah,
two of my kids attended it, and it's reprehensible on every level. I stand with my Catholic friends and family too. So I agree with you on that. Go ahead.
so when it comes to college football, on a lighter note, I do
Yeah.
spot trends in the markets as well as college football. Got a couple numbers for you. 42 to 27, 45 to 23, 30 to 24, and 13 to 10. These are the last 4 years of Michigan over Ohio State. So let's make it
Oh,
five
I
straight. But
know.
we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. That's not till November. So for the first
But
week,
let's
I'm
start with
watching.
this. Hold on. If we're going to dive into that, I'm taking Texas in the opener over the Ohio State University. Right? I got Texas uh, by 5. That's what I'm going with. And
Very good.
it could be worse. Texas might have them outclassed in every position. God bless Texas. All right, there you go.
Yep. So we'll be watching Texas, Ohio State. We'll also be watching Michigan on Saturday night with their freshman quarterback, the number one recruit in the country, number one quarterback overall, Bryce Underwood. So we'll be excited
Yeah.
to see what he can do as a college freshman.
All right. So let's see. Back to the numbers of the world besides football. It sounds like what a too late Powell, is that what the president called him? Too late Powell might actually step up and not be too late this week. He might actually get some things done coming in September. Drop the interest rates, and man, when the markets saw that, they said, "Hallelujah!" The markets took off the day that he made that. He alluded to that, didn't they?
They did. And this is a Fed pivot last Friday at Jackson Hole. Uh, Chairman Powell is indicating and opening the door for a September rate cut. Finally, it's been 9 months since the last rate cut. We have some stats here because it's been a long gap, right? Usually the Fed continues in a month or a quarterly or a monthly sequence. This is a 9 month gap, and the last here's the chart. So this has happened 11 times since 1970 when there's been a long gap between Fed cuts. Now, if we look out 1 year later, the stats are really nice. 10 out of 11 times it's been positive, and the average return 12 months looking forward has been 12.9%. So these are above average stats when it comes to the market and our crystal ball predictions.
And of course, you're hoping for a return to that. What does that mean? Is it early September, mid September? I don't really know the timing of it exactly.
Yeah, it's in early September. And so we'll be watching closely for any Fed comments between now and then. And also, we'll be watching the bond market very closely because we would expect rates across the spectrum to drop as well. But also, they've been dropping. And so perhaps the market is front running this Fed announcement. But we'll be watching the bond market closely. One takeaway would be our money market rates will drop by most likely a 1/4%. But also, we're looking at the mortgages, the car loans, the longer term treasury bonds.
Credit card debt too gets tied into that as well, doesn't it? So I mean, this impacts lots of people. Something else I see that is on the headlines here: Obamacare subsidies possibly getting reduced significantly. Look, the cost of insurance, the Affordable Care Act did zero, and I mean maybe less than zero on that word affordability. Never did much at all with Obamacare. Where are we with that?
Well, people have been taking advantage of these big time subsidies, which went into effect after COVID. So, for example, if I'm 62 and married and making $100,000 per year, I can get a $900 subsidy from the feds for my health insurance in my zip code. In other areas, the subsidies are even larger, but they are expiring at the end of this year unless Congress makes a change. I would not expect a change to be made because COVID is 5 years ago. And so, what's going to happen next year is that anyone who's over the 400% of the federal poverty level, which today for a married couple would be 84,000. So that example I gave you earlier, my subsidy would go from $900 a month to zero subsidy. Now, if I'm under 84,000, the federal poverty level times 4, then you would expect a subsidy, but it would be smaller. So this is going to affect a lot of people who are trying to retire pre-Medicare.
So a family of four, $84,000 is the poverty level. Is that what you're saying?
That's a family of two. So if we are a family of two, the poverty level is 21,000. And can you
Oh, I
imagine living
got
on
you.
21,000? A family of
Right.
four,
No,
the
no,
number
no.
goes up.
That's where I was confused. Now I understand. Okay, the numbers make sense to me now. All right, what is it? We've got about 30 seconds here. Sequence of returns risk. What is that? You wanted to mention it.
Yeah, this is talking about, right, the one thing we can't control is the market. And so if we retired in 1990, we had 10 years of a wonderful market, which was very lucky. If we retired in 1999, we had 10 years of a terrible market. My mother retired in 2007, right before the great financial crash. And so one thing we cannot control is the market, but so we have to have a distribution strategy ready in retirement to make sure if we have bad returns, we're not sunk.
There you go. Nick Hopwood from Peak Wealth. You can find out more with Nick Hopwood. Look him up online, Peak Wealth, and find out more. There's the QR code right there. You can click it right on your screen. Go right to Nick. Get a second opinion on all of it. And no second opinion needed on Michigan football. We appreciate that one. Nick, thank you.
Thank you for having me.